Recently, the development team behind the Division Resurgence opened up a limited-time test server in Europe. While I'm about as far away as you can get from Europe, they reached out to me and gave me a code anyway. Unfortunately, I was unable to find a device that was compatible at this stage, so I couldn't participate. However, this is where my good friend Abrax comes in. He too was invited, and has kindly provided some footage for me to use. Now, I know he didn't do it for this reason, but I'm going to shout him out anyway. If you've been a subscriber of this channel for a while, you should recognize his name, as he is only one of a handful of Division creators that I'll shout out. We've known each other since the later stages of the Division 1, before either of us were really doing too much in the way of content creation. If you're new here, please go and check out his channel. He has quality, well-researched content, without the over-sensationalism and clickbait that you may find elsewhere. I'll have a link in the description.
It happened in just a few weeks. Our own greed did us in. And before we knew it, the dollar flu spread like wildfire. A few weeks. That's how long it took for a civilization to collapse.
The governor of New York has asked for federal help as city services are collapsing.
Manhattan was being torn apart. So they locked it down. Or tried. But it was already too late.
The government is resorting to drastic measures to tackle the crisis.
That is why the president today has decided to invoke Directive 51.
So they finally activated us. The Strategic Homeland Division. An elite group of embedded agents. We are the last line of defense. And we will give our lives to save what remains.
The game starts immediately after the opening cinematic, with the player character being activated as a first wave agent. And on that note, extra points from me from beginning the game with a cat. There is already tons of dogs in games. I'm glad to see our feline overlords being featured. After being activated, we are contacted by Astrid Meyer, the acting section chief for Lower Manhattan. She gives a rundown of the current situation and tells us to meet up with Agent Kelly and rescue a VIP, Angela Chan. We find them both at the Spring Blossom restaurant, but she is refusing to leave without her people. The agents agree to help all of them and escort them to a nearby checkpoint. The agents move out ahead to clear a path and make sure that it is safe for civilians. The plan is to meet up with the JTF at the Manhattan Bridge checkpoint. However, Maya releases an update to all agents over the comms.
To all agents, be advised that the JTF has lost control of several checkpoints across Midtown. We now have bad guys operating with impunity in some areas. Be careful.
The agents call through to Chang, telling her that the path between them is clear. Once at the checkpoint, Agent Kelly suddenly receives a call from a Dr. O'Neill at the Trinity Church Field Hospital. They are being overrun and need help. Grabbing a helicopter and a handful of JTF officers, the agents make their way over there. Flying above the buildings, it was easy to see the true damage to the city due to the collapse. Suddenly, a rocket is fired at them from one of the buildings below, and then another. The second clips them, sending them into a spin, but as the agents are now close enough to the building, they make a jump and land on the roof, as the helicopter loses control, crashing into the buildings below. Fighting their way through, they come across a heavily wounded JTF officer. He informs them that the hostiles had overrun them and had taken all of their support weapons, heavy weapons. A mistake by the JTF. Why would they bring these into the city? The enemy is now heavily armed. Maya asked the JTF commander about these weapons, but the order to bring them in didn't come from him. The hostiles were headed to the stock exchange, and as it turns out, this is the fastest way to Trinity Church, so the agents will be meeting up with them to reclaim these weapons. While clearing out the stock exchange, a JTF officer releases a call over the radio. Trinity Church has fallen, and people are being taken as hostages. By the time they get there, the hostiles are gone, but have taken some of the people with them, including Dr. O'Neill. They don't know where they are headed, just that they are being led by a man called Jax. An echo outside the church reveals they are headed to Liberty Island.
What a ride!
Let me go! Please, let me go!
Shut up!
Let the nurses go. You only need me.
Best keep your mouth shut, Doc. You want to keep your teeth.
Where to next, boss?
Liberty Island. Plenty of supplies there.
What about Carl?
He's late. Fuck him. I won't stand for tardiness. Is it true that the statue has a restaurant in the head?
No, there isn't, you dumb bastard. It's a small fucking head.
It can't be smaller than your dick.
Knock it off. We gotta move.
Under heavy fire, the agents manage to land on the island. A hostile reveals that Jax has taken all the hostages to the statue. He has his men loading supplies onto the ferry and is planning to blow up the island once he leaves. The agents would find the hostages locked in a room behind a door that has been rigged to blow if anyone opened it. They defuse the bomb and let them free, including Dr. O'Neill. Next, the agents head after Jax before he is able to leave the island. On the dock and then the ferry, they catch up with him. After stopping him, he has one more gift, as he blows up the ferry using a remote detonator. And that is where the footage ends. Being a test server, we're only getting a small taste of the story, and we can see that by the fact that the agent has only made it up to level 3 or 4. But this is looking like it could play out similar to how the Division 1 did, with us completing a number of smaller tasks towards the much larger story that is being played out in the background. I've said this before, I'm not a mobile gamer by any means, and I know that this isn't what a lot of people are after, but I'm legitimately looking forward to this. I certainly don't plan on playing this like a typical mobile game though. I will 100% be using a controller, or better yet, an emulator on PC. Remember, the teams working on this have absolutely no impact on the other games. These are completely different talent pools. But like everyone else, I too would like more content for the Division 2, or even a Division 3. But for now, this is looking good to supplement the increasing gaps between content drops in the main game. Plus, if the Resurgence team is able to keep their plan of releasing updates every 3 months, there's going to be a lot to keep up with. I'm someone who loves the Division universe and the story behind it, maybe more than I like the games some days. So anything that continues to feed into it, whether it be games, novels, audiobooks, or even comics to a lesser extent, I'm all for it. Even though we've really only seen a small snippet of what the Resurgence story is like so far, there is already more information coming through around what it was like before the JTF had completely lost control and pulled out of the area. So I'm looking forward to learning more about this space within the overall timeline. A big thank you again to Abrax and Extremis Malus, Extrema Remedia.